What's good, everyone? This is Dab the Coolest.
And this is JB.
And welcome to Slick Talk.
Yes.
Hey,
Hashtag Slick Talk.
hashtag it lit. With a hashtag. Guess what,
gang
y'all?
anything.
Guess what?
Guess what?
We got
going.
good,
Uh-huh.
amazing,
Okay.
talented, beautiful guests in the
Okay.
building today.
The listeners are going to be like, okay, next. Let me put the read on.
Right.
I'm
Next.
just kidding.
No, but we have Lyd in the building today.
Hey.
Hey, Lyd, how are you doing?
What's
I'm
going
well.
on,
How
gorgeous?
are you guys? Oh, thank you.
Face beat. That's why I'm saying you came. Listen, there's nowhere else for anybody to go. I mean, nowhere else for anybody to go.
right.
So she came to the studio dressed up. We going to the club
Perfect
after this
excuse.
club quarantine.
Right.
The hell?
Oh, Zoom.
For
Right,
sure.
and we 6 feet apart, so don't you know,
Right.
we ain't having a party.
Right.
We are spaced apart, and we've taken precautions and everything like that.
If
So,
anyone calls, I'm leaving. No.
Right, I'm out.
Period.
Upon a cough. It's okay,
Right.
bye. It's great to meet you. Great being here. Thank you, guys.
I'm gonna head out like SpongeBob.
Like, what's that mean when they cut with you? Okay, excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and need you
Go
to
ahead and
log
log
off.
out.
Excuse me, baby. Go ahead and log off. No,
Lyd,
but
what's
yes.
going on? How have you been doing during this like crazy
Time.
lock-in?
I've been great. I'm an essential, so I've been going to work, and
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of jealous because I would like to be at home, get into like my creative side, and I see people just have time to do whatever they want to do.
right.
Yeah.
But I'm also glad that I'm still making my money, and
With
Yes.
that part.
I'm not going to be in a deficit at the end of it. But
Yes.
I just been playing board games and going on hikes and loving on my dog and my boyfriend.
Okay.
Yes.
Dope. And I told you when you first came in here that you're glowing.
Thank
and
you.
You said you're happy. I'm happy to hear that.
Thank
and
you.
everything. Like, it's been a while since I've seen you.
Yeah, it's been
So I'm so happy that we
long
had to get
Right,
you on
and
the
I could
show.
have been seeing you.
Yeah, but that's
But
how we
that-
do it.
That's like
when we see each
Capricorn.
other, it's
She's a
love.
Capricorn, y'all. So yeah.
Well,
it
but then I'm
is.
a Pisces, so there's that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right. Exactly.
But anyway, so you have a quarantine bay.
I do.
But you had a bay before quarantine.
Yeah, we're on our second year.
Yes. Come on,
Not
love.
big twins. Talk about yes. Yes.
I love it.
That's
So-
what's up. And how is that going?
It is going well now. It was rocky in the very beginning just because there were a lot of outside factors.
Okay,
he
that's
has a
real.
child.
Okay.
So that was difficult for me.
How
him.
did you adjust to that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
At the very beginning, it was great. But I think with the child comes a baby's mom.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So that was our biggest source of difficulty, and it translated to the child because that's her seed. So she
Yeah.
can kind of fill her head with whatever ideas. So it was very rocky at first, but we've actually been going to couples counseling lately.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
oh my God, I recommend it for anyone who's serious about doing a relationship. And I have a black female therapist.
Yes.
And
Yes. Come on,
and,
man. I love that.
She's just helped us to communicate on a whole new level and understand on a whole new level. And it's just making us a lot more successful, and we have a lot more peace. And
And that's good,
That's what's
especially
up.
right now.
right.
I love how like a lot of black millennials are really taking therapy seriously.
Absolutely. I
Like,
have
we're
a
taking
personal
black love
therapist
back.
too.
And black love, yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
dope.
Have
That's
you guys
really
heard
dope.
of Better Health? It's like online counseling. So
Oh,
Yeah.
I think I heard. It's like, is it an app though?
it is an app.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I did
so
hear about that.
That's how I found my personal therapist, and she's like a black woman from LA. And like I talk to her like I'm talking to my sis. Like,
Okay.
and that's how I first got into like the therapy, the idea of accepting it, because it's a taboo
Right,
in our
right,
culture.
right,
so
right.
I tried it, and I was like, first I had like a older Asian therapist, and
Okay.
I was like, I can't.
Yeah, it
Right.
can't
Relate.
Like,
I don't-
I'm sure you know what you're doing, but
Right.
we're not really on
I don't
the
think you
same
understand
vibe.
how I feel
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
how I think.
Yeah.
That's real.
So then when I got a black woman, she was like, like maybe only 10 years older than me.
Oh,
And she's
wow.
from LA. I'm from California, you know?
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, I can do therapy.
I can open up a little bit more.
Yeah.
And she makes a great point because some people, we had a conversation with one of the friends to the show, where we were asking him who he felt comfortable with opening up to. Remember, we had a conversation with Marquise, and we're asking whether he feel comfortable opening up with a man therapist, a black man therapist, or a woman therapist. So that's a great question that you said you felt comfortable with a black woman therapist.
Absolutely.
He said he also felt comfortable with a black woman therapist.
Because black women
'cause
are
black women
everything.
just
I mean,
gold.
there is nothing
Right?
more comforting than a black mother.
No,
Right.
for real. No, really though.
Right, that knows what she's talking about on the technical level, right?
Listen.
But
So
that's
is this
what's
the
up.
same therapist for The couple?
No, they're separate.
Oh,
so
okay.
I have my
Because I was
personal
like, well,
therapist.
that's probably a lot for.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't do that because it would just be too biased.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
But yeah, so,
So
we,
you heard about Idris Elba? It tested positive for coronavirus.
Absolutely.
And then I guess, are they married now or are they still
they're
fiancés?
definitely
So
married.
they're married. His wife stuck with him.
As she should.
And now
Okay,
she
so you answered the question.
and she tested positive.
Okay, yeah, I heard that.
So I guess you answered the question. So you would stick by your boo.
Absolutely. I
Aw.
feel like when you make the commitment to be married to someone,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
saying through sickness and through health.
That's
Literally,
true.
you say
That's
that part.
true.
That's true.
And I would be hella mad if I got sick and my husband was like, "Oh, you're on your own." Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
you
and
know,
then you gotta
like,
go in
I feel
your own
that.
room.
you know, who else is going to be there for you?
I think for me, I mean, obviously, I feel the same way. I would try to stick, but I feel like the circumstances would have to depend on the circumstance because I wouldn't want my wife to stick around if I felt like she can get really, really sick. Like, what if she has an immune, like something's going on deep down in her, or I don't want to put anybody else. So, granted, my boyfriend or my husband or my wife or whatever may want to be around me. I'll probably be like, no, babe, just stay away. I don't want us both to be sick.
Slide my food under the door.
Yeah, just slide my food under the door. But I get it. I mean, it's nothing like being together under the circumstances. But
Yeah.
just me, I'm like, no, I don't want you to get sick too. I appreciate you want to be by me, but at the end of the day, like I just want to get through this the best
Get
way
this
I can
done.
and make sure you don't because it can affect either one of us differently. You know,
That's true.
I think
so-
it goes back to what you said. It's
it's
situational.
situational.
Because my
Absolutely.
partner has he hasn't been sick the whole 2 years I've known him. So I
Oh,
would definitely
yeah.
expect him to be in the room. Like,
No, absolutely, right? So
Like,
you good. You
um,
good,
he
bruh.
probably has the right
Massage my
blood.
back. I'm
Right.
aching.
What is
I'm
it? The O
aching.
negative?
right, at the antidote.
Right. Well, no, and the reason why I bring that up is because when it first broke, on the Shade Room and on blogs and online, people were like, "Why is she still
Criticizing
there?"
her.
Like blah blah blah. But to your point, when you marry someone, you have
through
vows.
sickness and
You say
health.
like through sickness and through health.
Yeah.
And this is through sickness, and I'm
Absolutely.
gonna be with you. So
Absolutely.
I mean, I just hope.
And at the end of the day, who want to leave Idris Elba's fine ass anyway?
Right.
It's like, come on.
Touche.
Cough on me, sir.
Okay, the fuck? Spit in
Down,
my
just
mouth.
right here.
right, exactly.
Let's get it jump together. Let's
And then
go.
also, like, what about people with children? Are you not supposed to take care of your children because they're
That's
sick?
true.
You know,
That is
like,
true.
I'll be damned if I let my baby suffer. Because I'm
Yeah.
scared.
Like, you
is
gotta
true.
stay in the room.
Speaking of baby though and children, do you ever? I mean, this might be too personal, but do you see yourself having kids?
Absolutely, I want to have as many as I can afford.
Really?
Same.
Okay. Do you want a girl first, boy first?
I would like to have only boys, but I know that
Girls always want to. Women always want to have boys.
yeah, women are very complicated, and as a woman, I know I'm so complicated. I be having a conversation with myself, and I have to stop. Like, girl, what are you talking about?
Okay.
It's gonna be like,
Check yourself. That's pretty normal. I would say that's normal.
yeah, I check myself
Since
all
you
the
want to
time.
have
Yeah.
a boy, I also want to have kids as well.
Nice. How
I do
many?
want to have a girl first. I want to have 3 kids.
Nice.
So I want to, preferably, I would like to have the girl from myself, and then I would want my partner to have the boy from
Oh,
himself,
nice.
and then I would want to go adopt like a third child, whether it's a
That's
boy or a girl.
dope. Yeah,
is
So
dope.
I've
that's
always
like the ideal
liked
situation for me.
Well, it's gonna be a lot of December babies because of this quarantine
Yeah.
situation.
Hey!
So y'all gonna have a bunch of Capricorns
Or
in 2020.
Sagittariuses.
Or yeah,
Oh,
or some, we
no.
don't need more of those though.
Yeah.
So y'all
I
wait-
think we're at
wait
our
till,
limit.
like,
Yeah.
we're at a well. Sorry, Kyle. Our Sagittarius.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He is a, yeah, he is a
My sister's a
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. You know how they say, I have a friend that's black. I have a sister that's a Sagittarius.
Right. No, absolutely.
No, but I love Sagittarius though. But we hit the cap.
No, absolutely.
So we just did a episode about Black cinema. Have you been watching anything, or like what's been like? I know you're working, but what have you been doing when you're at home? Because you can't step out. You know,
No.
we can
Besides
step
board
out.
Yeah.
We can step out, baby. Me and Leah got stories for days.
So many. So many.
All 3 of us, just
Yeah.
separately.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Me
we're
and Deborah
together.
have, yeah, and together.
And together, we are. Listen,
Oh, I want to go back to those days.
listen,
Yeah,
but we,
that
you
was
know,
It's
I'm
not
so
gonna be the
much
same
fun.
after quarantine.
I know
Nothing-
it's gonna be
nothing's gonna be
it's gonna be a minute. So,
Yeah.
So what
you
have
said
you been doing?
What have you been doing besides the board games? Like, have you been watching anything?
So
or?
I've been watching a little bit of TV. Like when I get to staring at a screen for too long, I start losing my mind. Like whether it's Instagram, it's a TV. So like
computer.
we watched like the whole season of Empire
Oh my god!
for the culture.
Right.
For the culture.
Right, got
I love
to.
that.
Because
I love that.
We watched this like kind of like hillbilly show called Shameless.
I know that show.
Yeah, because they have like 12 seasons. We were like, well, this could get us through the quarantine. So
Okay,
Right.
basically, just like
Yeah.
watching Lost. You ever heard that show
Yeah.
Lost? They
I
have
haven't.
so many seasons.
So, but I heard you guys talking about Black cinema earlier, and I have a few opinions on Queen and Slim.
Okay, give it to us.
Okay, so I really was not okay with how it ended.
That's what a lot of
Same.
people say.
Is it okay for spoilers or?
It's
We'll
absolutely
just tell you, spoiler alert.
Spoiler
Okay,
alert.
If you're
Queen
not watching,
and
spoiler
Slim.
alert.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I feel like it is so cliche for at the end of a Black love story for them to be murdered by the police. I think that is so disrespectful to the times and everything that's going on, and for them to be sold out by one of their own.
Yeah.
I feel like I expect more solidarity out of the Black culture right now just because of what's going on. So for them to depict a Black traitor,
Yeah.
a white savior, I was just
Got
kind of
it,
like,
yeah.
But then the question still like remains is like, is that, wouldn't you not say that would be realistic?
white savior? Absolutely
No.
not.
I'm not talking about the white savior. I'm talking about us being murdered by cops, though. Like, isn't that what's
absolutely.
going on right
Yeah,
now?
absolutely.
And then isn't like not the white savior part, but you said us being murdered by cops and us being sold out by our own.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people use the analogy of like our community at times, not saying everybody, but being crabs in a bucket. Like we'll pull each other down to reach the top. And that's essentially what he did in the movie. He
Absolutely.
sold them out so that he can get money.
Absolutely.
So
I
it's
think
kind of realistic,
I think it's realistic.
but it's not.
I
But
think-
it's not moving us forward.
Yeah,
It's not. I
I think
get that.
that's already the narrative that we're
Yeah.
all aware of.
We're trying
and
to
I think
change it.
for our Black writers, our Black producers, tell us a story that gives us hope, as
Okay.
opposed of a story that fits the status quo and basically
it.
Reinstates every idea that they say about us.
Right. Makes
Most of
sense.
the ways that we're living are based on the ideas that have been put in place about us. you know?
Exactly.
That's deep.
And
That's
I'd like to step out of
That's
that.
a soundbite right there.
No, for real.
Yes.
And then or internationally, like some people don't have interactions with Black
Right.
people, and so they only get what they're fed in the media. So
Absolutely.
if that's what the narrative is going to continue to be, that's all they're going to know.
Absolutely.
So that's why we also talk about The Photograph. I love that movie. I don't know if you've seen it yet. Yeah, but
You
it's
seen it?
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah.
but it's a Black love story that's Black love. Like it's
Right.
not. There's no hidden agenda. There's no like killing each other.
Nice.
You know. But it's
Yeah.
like it's just showing Black love and generational love too.
and Black, and I think it's also important to say about that. I didn't say it before. It's showing Black dark love. Like
Nice.
the both
Yes.
people in the picture in the film are dark skinned,
Nice.
which I think is important.
Yeah.
You know, it's like for representation, and we don't,
Absolutely.
you know, Hollywood never really casted dark skinned people to play these type of roles and
Right.
in these type of films. So to see Issa Rae's beautiful chocolate skin on there, and then Lakeith as well, and them sharing passionate kisses
Come on,
and everything,
brown
like
skin.
it was dope. I really appreciate seeing that.
For
I really
sure.
appreciate that.
I like the previews, and my best friend called me like, "Oh my God, you have to see Photograph. It's so good. Like
It's been
it
having
warmed
mixed
her
reviews.
heart."
I liked it.
I
but
liked
it's
it
been,
too, but some people,
yeah.
but that's just it's people's
In general.
preferences. Now the
Yeah.
soundtrack, well, I shouldn't say the whole soundtrack is good, but two songs on there, "Comfortable" by her. It's I know you
Yeah.
know
I
that.
don't
It's
know
a song
that.
called "Comfortable" by her. Y'all need to listen to that
And
song.
what's the other one?
Lucky Day.
Yes!
What's
I
the
love
name of
that
it though? Boo, 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 boo.
Sun or something.
I have it.
forget what
I
it's
have it.
called.
I have it queued up actually.
No, absolutely. So, what do you see? I guess I can ask, like, right now, it's kind of like we're stuck in this time of what's going on, but what are you most
Fade Away.
excited about?
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh, Fade Away?
It's called Fade
Okay,
Away.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What are you most excited
What are
about?
you most excited about for, like, in the future in general? Like, you know, just because I want us to. I mean, obviously, we have to be in the present and deal with what's going on right now. But I want us to have hope. I want us to be positive and be optimistic. So, what is something that you're excited about doing or experiencing in the future?
Do you mean like excuse me, post corona or just
Just
Right,
in general.
because that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, post Corona about to shake my ass.
What I know, right? Right after, right
Right
at
after,
the thing.
step right on out, like
Walk
shit.
out
hey.
clicking.
I'm gonna have to hit it everywhere. Go from LA to the Bay. Let's just go to Miami.
I'm gonna go places just to go.
Just to
like
go.
I missed you, and I ain't never seen you. Like
Right.
you know.
No, I'm just talking about like in general. What are you excited about right now in your life
and
outside
I-
of your relationship? You
And
know,
I-
and that's
and-
something
and
excited.
for all of us, and then also like, what are we doing currently to fuel that?
Exactly.
Or what are we doing in general to fuel what we want to
Yeah.
do long term while we have this time? I mean, you're working.
So what are you excited
Lid's
about?
working.
So
You are working.
right now, I'm waiting on an acceptance letter for the school of my choice. I won't say it.
Yes.
So
That's
I'm looking
exciting.
I'm not really a school person, but I understand that having that kind of paper next to your name helps, and I'm looking forward to progressing in my career. I work with children with autism, and I look forward to creating a role for myself that is really effective. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about people of color finally understanding their power
Yes,
and
yes,
their
yes.
strength and their greatness.
Yes,
and I
yes,
look forward to
yes.
seeing where that's going to take us. And I think, like, just on social media, I've noticed, and even in the community, I've noticed a lot more unity, like, within people of color.
Yes.
And it's becoming more powerful, and it's becoming more of the norm. So
And I think social media plays a huge part in
Absolutely.
that. The fact that we all can connect to each other at one time on Twitter or Instagram and big each other up.
Black Twitter is
and
what's keeping Twitter afloat.
listen, for real.
Black Twitter. I don't even have Twitter, but
I have a
everything
Twitter.
I see
It's
from
lit.
Black Twitter just makes me laugh
Exactly.
so much.
And
People are so
I have Twitter,
creative.
but
They are
And-
so
yeah.
creative, and they have a way of connecting to your mind. And
Absolutely.
right,
it's so
and it's just
strange.
like. And it just shows the creativity, like, because it's like I wouldn't have thought of that, but it's so like
Right.
on point.
It speaks to our experience.
Listen, I have Twitter, but I use it for other reasons.
What reasons do you use it for?
Twitter is either good for porn or Black Twitter.
Okay. I didn't even know Twitter had porn, but it sounds
Oh,
lit.
baby.
They really do.
There is so much, but I ain't putting myself on there.
Is it like
They can-
Actually,
raunchy,
there's
like
this-
real life porn, or like?
It's like a
real
lot of
life, yeah.
amateur, like people are like doing stuff. A lot of stuff though is starting to get a little too much, a little too risque. People
But
are
that's
like,
the best. The amateur at home porn is the
well, the
best.
That's
amateur
my
at home
favorite
is,
for
but when
sure.
you start like walking around the park with kids walking around, that's
Oh,
a little,
yeah,
you're doing too
you know what I mean?
much.
You walking around
Absolutely.
with your thing out, like that's a little.
And
like,
then Twitter has a habit of like, it's really kind of like borderline. Like they can really be borderline like child pornography. Like 17,
There's no
18
filter.
year olds.
There's no way to
Yeah.
like
no
filter
filter,
it.
but it's
Like that
I-
girl, the Catch Me Outside girl.
Yeah.
Oh, she got
so
a
you mean,
video?
No, I'm just saying she be
yeah.
having her titties out and she acts like she's
Nah,
grown.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then people just like people were hitting up Sky, the black actress. She's
Oh,
like 17
Sky
or something.
Jackson?
Sky Jackson.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And T.I.'s daughter?
She blasted. No, not T.I.'s daughter.
I was
She.
saying anti-I starter.
Oh, and T.I.'s daughter. Yeah, they were in her DM, so she blasted the dude that was in her DM. Like,
Right.
child, like, dude, I'm about to say, like, child, I'm just 17 years old. Dude,
I'm a
17.
child.
But I do-
Right, child, I'm a child.
we can go back. I am interested in divulging. I mean, to speaking a little bit more on porn, but I do want to read.
Me
I'm
too.
fascinated. Listen, I'm fascinated, but I do want to read this tweet. I do want to read this tweet that was on the Shade Room. It was on Twitter, obviously, but they posted it. Speaking of Twitter, but somebody said when they finally open outside again, I'm gonna stay home for a little bit, let the first batch of air hit y'all first, and see what happens, just to make sure the coast is clear.
That is a move.
And then she said, you know how Apple has their first release with all the glitches, and then the next release they fix them? He said, y'all could go outside when it first opens. I'm going to wait for outside S.
right.
Child, I'm going outside when it first happens. I'll take the
What is
glitch.
outside S?
I want to be a storyteller.
No, but that's real. I saw that and I was like, you know what? That's some shit that I would do because I'm like, well, let's see what's really popping off.
Yeah.
And then like,
I'm
No,
going
I'm
outside.
going outside instantly. I'm catching the flight. I'll still take the
Like getting on the
precautions.
plane.
I'm
Right.
getting on a plane and going to like Costa Rica or somewhere.
well, yeah, like I know for us, I can't speak for everybody, but we're clean. Like
Yeah.
I've already been washing my hands
Yeah.
and taking showers
I
and
mean,
like.
we've lived together. We lived together for 2.5 years, so I
Yeah.
know. this
Right,
man
like
is
it's
really
not. It's
playing.
not like like
That's-
this is not far fetched for me. So
Right.
for
Yeah.
and for some people, for this to be so far fetched, it's like
A
Child,
problem.
what were you guys doing before?
right, like
You're
Well, back to
dirty.
porn. So what
Well,
kind
some
of porn
people-
are
some-
you into?
Glad you asked.
glad you asked. So
I love like amateur, like raunchy, like
Really?
my boy is recording porn.
what is
I'm with you, I'm
raunchy?
like,
I mean, like ratchet porn, like like in
pull
a
the
car.
hair? Oh, okay.
I mean that too, but
Uh-huh.
more like on just filmography level. Is that a word?
Yeah, filmography, but I get what you're saying. That's not the word you're looking for.
Cinematography level. There it is.
Yeah. We gonna make it work though. Filmography.
We got it. We knew what you meant.
Yeah, on that level, I like it to be like amateur, just like home porn.
Yeah, I like that
This
too.
seems more natural. Like
is
it's like
natural.
more real.
It makes
guess-
you feel like you could do it too.
Yeah.
Technically, you could.
It puts you in a horny environment where it's like,
Exactly.
you got people walking in and they're supposed to be a real estate agent. It's like, come on.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
Supposed to
Making
be
a
showing me a
delivery.
house, and then out of nowhere there's a
Right.
penis. So like
Okay.
what?
Right.
Like, where's that going to play?
But that's that's my favorite as well. But I wasn't expecting this question. I like cum shots. Like that's what gets me off.
Damn,
Like,
that's deep.
Okay.
But that's what gets me off.
telling
Like
his
it's just like
secrets,
okay,
y'all.
I like that. But I think it's because I like to see the reaction. Like I like even when I'm like with someone, like if I'm engaging in sex with you, I want to know that you're enjoying it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I like to see the reaction
I think that's a lot of people.
from it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people.
So I
seeing
watch
the
a lot
reaction,
more like
the
solo
pleasure.
stuff because like I can watch like two people do it, but it's just like okay, like
Yeah.
I
There's
want
this
to
one
get to the
solo
end.
person I've been watching lately, and I like it too. But I just recently got into it like last month, I think. I was like, this is kind of nice.
Right. Solo can work.
Have you ever watched gay porn?
I have.
You have?
That's not how it really looks.
Okay.
No, okay. I have another thing I do on porn websites, like things that I know that I can't experience for myself. I go look at just to see like how
Yeah,
does
'cause
this.
you're curious.
Yeah,
You're intrigued.
super curious. Like
Yeah.
I was watching like trans threesomes,
Oh.
and I
That's
don't
a
think
thing
I-
now.
Do I
and-
watch that?
Or
and
it's
it
already
was
been a thing, but
intense. Like I had in my mind how I would think it would work, and then.
and then the thing is
And then
like
when I saw it, I was like, okay, I kind of had a good idea of it. And then, like, even watch it. Now I sound weird, but
no,
I've
you don't
watched-
trust,
No.
baby.
No, it's
I
not-
can tell you some weird shit that I know
Let her
people
get
are
it out.
into.
You haven't heard this
Sorry.
next line yet. So I've watched like men have sex. Like, remember when the sex dolls first came out on the internet
Yeah.
and it was like a big thing? So I got curious and I watched like a bunch of videos
Oh,
of men having
yeah.
sex with dolls, and I was like,
Those
and
are real
whoa.
things.
And they be getting it in.
They
Yeah,
really be getting
they-
it
I'm
in.
like, and
Whoa.
but it's nothing like the real thing. So I just hope that people don't get like so with sex toys and dolls and
Yeah.
stuff.
No,
people get so
absolutely.
like caught up in that it's like, oh well, I
Nah,
got what
I
I
don't think
need.
people are getting caught up.
Well,
in
I'm
it
sure
too
some
much.
people have.
the people on the internet think those are their girlfriends.
See
Yeah,
what I
those
mean?
are some, no shade, but those are some weirdos.
Yeah, they are.
But yeah,
I
it's
try not
like-
to judge, but
Right?
that
No,
is-
yeah, right. That's if that's your jush.
No.
No.
Well, I
No.
mean, it's a safe thing. It's a safe. This is probably the most safest thing you could do.
At some
I
point, we
will
gotta
say
draw
that.
a line, though.
I mean, come on,
Like,
really?
No, yeah. Well, not like out of curiosity. I've seen it too, but I don't know as far as like trans, like what you've watched as far as like the videos. But we had a conversation in a recent episode about whether or not we will be able to date a trans person, and I said no. But I did look into like trans, like female to men hooking up with gay men,
Mm-hmm.
and they still have their woman parts.
Mm-hmm.
So they're getting like, it's like
Mhm.
it seems straight, but it's not because.
So-
Well, no. So technically, it is straight, but it's not.
But it's not.
because
Yeah.
they're a F to M, female
exactly.
to
So they're
man.
so it's gay,
Yeah, so it's gay.
Yeah.
but it's just like
So on the show Shameless,
That
the
threw me
hillbilly
off.
show I was talking about,
Uh-huh.
that was a part of it. Like the leading gay character met a trans female to male person,
Mhm.
and at first he didn't know, and then so he was interested in him as a guy, and then when he found out he was trans, he more had like reservations, and then but the trans person was basically like, my vagina is not even a factor for me. I don't even want vaginal sex. Like,
Right.
you know, like I'm a top.
Yeah. I didn't know what the term.
I want to plow you down, so you don't even get to
Yeah.
touch this.
So I'm happy that we're on the conversation though, because one of the best things I was feeling when I found out that you were coming on the show is the fact that you're super duper real. You tell it like it is and
Thanks,
everything like
y'all.
that, and it's effortless. Our conversations are always effortless. My question is, I mean, there a few months or like a month ago, there was this like big media blitz on Dwayne Wade, Gabrielle Union, and their daughter Isaiah. Honestly, what did you think about that? Like, what
Okay.
was that? Give us
Now.
a opinion of what you thought about that.
Now, so that's a tough one for me because, you know,
Keep it real.
I keep it all the way 100, but I
Please.
also don't really care what people do in their own personal lives.
Right, that's
I
the
feel
thing.
like if this is what you're doing with your daughter, do that with your daughter. Trying to make it a movement when your daughter is not really sure. Because at that age, I'm hetero now, but if you had asked me if I was hetero, I would have not known what that word meant.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I feel
So
that.
I just feel like the child is too young to be a voice for that. And I think if that's what you want to do
listen.
in your home, whether I agree, whether I disagree, I don't really get into people's business to that point because if I felt a different way, I would really appreciate it if people stayed out of my business.
Listen.
So
Right.
And
like,
it's crazy because I have that same mindset. I understand that everybody's an individual. I understand what they're trying, what her parents are trying to do by making her be a voice because there's kids that are going through this, and to see representation from especially a Black young queer woman or girl is moving. But my thing is that, you know, I'm just like, you know, just let her be a child.
Right.
You know, like
That's what I was
it's just like I feel like it's just a heavy burden to kind of like have her in the media so soon. Like you can live your truth by all means, live your truth. And the fact that your parents both support you as well, that's even
dope as well.
but
so
isn't
amazing.
everybody queer when you're 12?
I mean, listen,
Right, low key though. I mean, I got
mean,
some stories from when I
didn't
was
know what I
12, yeah.
wanted. I
I
honestly
do
didn't know what I
too.
wanted.
Well, yeah, I didn't either. Like, but
But then
I have,
to
like,
that
I
point,
have
though,
like,
playing the devil's advocate, kids are growing up faster now too.
well, because they have a lot
Yeah,
more
but
exposure to stuff. But I think
I think the biggest concern is your child being overly sexualized and like
Right.
having
Yeah.
that knowledge of, oh,
Right.
I want
Very
to be
true.
intimate with these kind of people because
Right.
Yeah.
like when I was 12, I liked girls, I liked guys, I liked
Right.
my parents, I liked my
right,
sisters.
right, exactly. Like I like my not my cousins like that, but you know,
but
like I
you like your
didn't
cousins
think
for
of it
sure.
like
No,
that.
I had a cousin
absolutely.
who was so fine. I didn't understand that was totally out of pocket.
But
Well, it's not in
you're a
Alabama.
baby.
Right.
But you're a baby.
Exactly, and
you
that's
know.
the point. Like when you're at that age, it's
Yeah.
so ridiculous to.
That's the time of figuring it out.
Absolutely.
And you know, in my experience, like I was figuring it out. Like this is what's not okay. This is what is okay. This is what I can like. This is what I can't like or shouldn't like. Rather, like you know, I liked older ass men when I was 12, and I
Right.
didn't know that
Me
that was a
too.
problem.
Right.
Like not that I did anything with older men. Let's clarify that. Man. Nobody touched
Everyone
me.
liked older
Nobody
men.
touched me.
Like,
But
you
if he
know-
was a zaddy, then I was like, oh, you're cute. You know.
Yeah.
But I agree with you in the sense that like I think they should have done it more so in private and not
Yeah.
because it's shameful, but let the kid grow up. Like let
I mean,
her
that's so
come
much
into her own,
pressure.
and then let
if the
her
kid
decide.
changes her mind, you know how hard it will be for her to
Exact-
change
now
her
to
mind at
take a
this
step
point.
back.
Yeah.
And or if she wants to do something totally different, it's going to be so hard because she is now the staple for that, you know, and
Yeah.
it's just unfair. And I feel like it's irresponsible as a parent.
Yeah.
I think it's great that he's decided I'm going to love my kid despite,
That's dope.
you know, the masculine energy that I've been raised
Absolutely.
into and the sport that I'm raised into. I think that's great. But she was
everything
saying, you know,
that's-
do you guys see the video when she was like on the golf cart
Yeah.
and she was giving her
She was-
testimony
she was-
about.
I was like, wow.
I didn't see that.
Like,
She was like
Yeah, she
on
was
the
on the
golf
golf cart
cart
with her-
and she was
with her
like, you know,
dad.
I just don't feel like it's fair to have to not be yourself. And
Yeah.
Like basically, she was expressing where she was coming from, but
and that's fine and everything.
Huh.
It's just like what becomes concerning to me is that we're not that people are, and obviously I'm not in their family. I'm not even a big. They don't know
Right.
who I am, but I do have an opinion.
Yeah.
But my thing is just that no, I do have an opinion. My thing is like sometimes I just feel like kids are very influential off of their parents, so they go based upon what their parents are speaking or what's going on in the media or what's going on just in the world. So if there's this movement of, you know, the people saying, oh, just be yourself and living your truth, because that's what's going on right now, people are just saying living your truth and everything like that, then it kind of influenced the child to believe that this is what they need to be doing. That's fine. You can live in your truth, but what's important right now at 12 years old is just having fun and living your life and just making sure that you're happy. And if that's your happiness, that's fine.
Right.
But it shouldn't take precedent to everything else that's going on in your life.
Yeah.
Anyways.
and I
that's
saw
that.
the pictures of Zaya like before the thing became like
Yeah, we all
controversial,
seen 'em.
and I didn't know, like I wasn't looking like, oh, that
Yeah.
girl is just like a, I wasn't
Right.
even
Yeah,
on that.
right.
But
Yeah.
now that you're telling me, like, oh, accept her, accept her, I'm like,
it's
okay,
like-
I
like,
accept
like,
her,
oh,
but
shit.
how does she?
Okay.
Like, right. Like,
Shit.
I'm like, I don't know how much Zaya knows about like gender fluid and like, I don't
Yeah.
know, and
Right.
just to have all of that on a child at 12 is all the pressure of society.
That's my only
Right.
concern.
Absolutely.
That's
I
my only
hella
concern.
appreciate them for being the parents
Yeah,
that they are, though.
absolutely.
That is beautiful, and we need more of that in our community.
Absolutely.
Because when we get back into the whole Boosie and what he said, it's like then you got your son saying something. It's like, well, you're
Yeah.
breeding toxic masculinity. Just
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Boosie all into
Don't
people's
cut his
private
dick
parts.
off, man.
Right,
What
I'm
are
like, why you
talking about?
care?
We're not even talking about it. He's been acting up.
Right.
Like, they literally reactivated his Instagram live again. I'm like, they need to just not. He's been on Instagram talking about, show me your pussy lips.
Right,
Yeah.
I'll give you
Sir,
$1,000 for
I'll
your
give you
pussy lick. Well, if
show
I
me
had a
your pussy
pussy, I
lips.
sure would show him because it's a quarantine and I need some money.
Okay.
I love Lil Boosie. Don't get me wrong. I love Lil Boosie,
I
but that
can't
man
stand
is a
him.
bumpkin. Okay,
right. Problematic as fuck.
I think he would agree. He's a bumpkin.
Hella problematic.
Oh God, it's lit. You need to come back.
Oh,
I know
Thanks.
it's
I
over
appreciate it
already.
being
So
here.
soon,
Believe
just
that
get
time,
it
it's
started.
just like every time we record, it's like, oh well, there's
No, but the
time.
thing about it is when we're having a dope ass conversation,
Yeah, and when it-
is
yeah,
when it
we're
just
having
goes by
fun.
like that. This was effortless. We really
Yeah,
appreciate
I
your
had
energy,
fun.
who you are as a person. I wish you nothing
gotta
but
come
love
back.
and light. Please come
same
back.
to you guys. I love you guys. Both know I love you guys so
Yes,
much. My
yes.
Capricorn and my Pisces.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thanks for having me.
Of course,
Absolutely.
of
Thanks for
course. And
coming.
You'll be back.
Yes.
I hope.
You will.
if you would like to be back, you'll
Of
be back.
course.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all so much for listening to another episode of Slick Talk. We
Yes,
will
sir.
hashtag Slick Talk. We will see y'all
Don't
next
forget
week.
the hashtag.
Right. Don't forget the hashtag. Hopefully, we'll see y'all next week. Hopefully, we're not shut down because of this whole thing. But
If you do, I gotta call in or do some type
all
of
right,
stuff.
we're gonna have to figure it out.
But I think we need to say it online too. Like, for those that are just now listening in, like, please listen to us on different platforms. Like, if you want, there's so many different platforms you can listen to us on. Tell a
Listen
friend
on everything.
on everything. YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud. Apple Podcast, and we really, really appreciate
And
you guys'
Google Play.
support. And
Google
Google
Play,
Play.
too.
Can
Yeah.
I
We
make an
love
outro
y'all.
noise, y'all? Ew.
Oh yeah, give me your social media. Some people probably
Right.
want
Oh,
to see your
yeah.
social media. Give me your
If
social
you
media real
want
quick.
to.
If you want to.
I don't mind. On Instagram, I'm at California Capricorn. Everything spelled right. And on Snapchat. On
Come on,
Snapchat is she a Katt.
She a
Okay.
cat.
Hello. Ow. Just sounds like, bye.
Thank y'all. We love y'all. Stay home.
Cheers.
Bye. This episode of Slick Talk was brought to you in part by Nexus Recording Studio, where the Bay records. Are you looking to do your own podcast, your own EP, your own mixtape? Check them out. It's in Oakland, California. That's where we record, and it's amazing.